time went on and telescopes became more powerful and more sensitive, more and more of these spiral nebulae, now known as galaxies, were discovered. And we came to the conclusion that just as our sun is an ordinary star, one of many, many millions within our galaxy is just one of many millions of other galaxies. But how many galaxies do we think are out there? Well, what you're looking at here is an image taken by the Hubble Space Telescope of a tiny patch of sky. And on this image, you can see thousands and thousands of galaxies. And these are actually galaxies that are so far away that we're peering into the distant reaches of the universe in order to see them. This is one of the most sensitive images ever made in astronomy. Imagine holding up something very small like a grain of sand up to the night sky at arm's length. In doing so, you are actually eclipsing an area of sky which is equivalent to the size of the Hubble Deep Field. So we know that we live in a universe that consists of millions and millions of galaxies, and each of those galaxies contains hundreds of thousands of millions of stars. Could the universe be infinite? Well, an argument which has been reinvented many times over the centuries would argue that this isn't the case. And it rests on what we see when we look at the night sky with our eyes or perhaps with a telescope. What do we see? We see several nearby stars, and then we see faraway stars. Many of these are arranged in clusters or even galaxies containing hundreds of thousands of millions of stars. But that doesn't really change the argument. What the argument says is that if we truly lived in an infinite universe, wherever we looked, whatever direction we looked in the sky, our line of sight would always end in a star. So if we have an infinite universe which is full of stars arranged in any kind of patterns of clusters and so on, what we would actually see is that the entire sky, our whole field of view, would be completely filled with white light. So in other words, no matter what direction we look at, our line of sight would end at a star, and the whole of the night sky, rather than being points of light punctuating a dark sky, would be a uniform, bright sky. Not only white, but as bright as the sun. This argument, known as Olbers' paradox, is complicated slightly by the fact that we know that light doesn't travel at an infinite speed. So we could imagine that we live in an infinite universe, and it's just the fact that the light from distant stars hasn't had time to reach us yet. What we can say for certain is that we don't live in an infinite universe which is infinitely old. We'll be learning about our current picture of the universe and how we've arrived at it much more in the next module.